I have no. Good morning, everyone. We're going to call this meeting of the SUNY Potsdam College Council to order. This is our last meeting of this academic year.
Hard to believe.
The first order of business is approval of the minutes. The
Move 'em.
minutes.
Second.
Okay, so the minutes had been distributed previously via email to all the members, and I now have a motion from Rich Daddario and a second from Harold Johnson to accept the minutes as submitted. Is there a discussion? Anybody have additions, corrections, comments, anything, nothing? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes as submitted, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you very much. I will give you a brief report. Two things that I want to cover. The first one is that since we last met, I had been contacted by SUNY Central and asked if I would be willing to be a member of the constituency community subgroup of the Chancellor's Search. And I accepted that, and we had our first meeting just about a month ago, and with the search consultants, and it was more of a listening session, what we're all looking for in a new chancellor, challenges, the usual. And it was a good meeting. And if, I will also extend to you the offer that the search firm gave to our group, which is if you know anyone that you think would be a really good person to be the next chancellor of the system, you can let me know and I will forward that name on to the search firm. So it's interesting, it's moving, and at some point we will have a new chancellor. We know Deb Stanley, who is the interim chancellor. She was the president at Oswego. And she, is that where you're from?
Yes.
You're an alum? Okay, well, at least it's in the family, it's all right. And she knows the campus very well. She's been here, and we know Deb, so we feel comfortable that she's leading the system right now. And the second thing I want to bring you up to date on is our presidential search. It seems like everybody's searching. So, again, if you as a council person are interested in being on the search committee, if you would let me know. The SUNY regulations call for 4 council members, including me as the chair. So we're going to have 3 more council members that are to be selected. And the SUNY regulations are very specific about who is on the committee. So other than the 4 council members, there are 6, and the SUNY regulations call for 6 full-time teaching faculty. Blair and I and a number of other people have had discussions about this. And as a result of those discussions, we have permission that on this campus, for this purpose, we will define the teaching faculty as full-time employees who teach who are classified as faculty and who teach at least 1 course a semester. So that means that there are people that have other obligations that may have course releases because of those obligations would be eligible. And Blair, I think it's been just a little over a week since the call went out for nominations or self-nominations. And things are moving along quite well. Do you agree?
Great.
Yeah.
I checked, we're up to about 35 nominations.
Okay.
And about 15 of them have accepted nominations already.
Okay, great. And the nominations will be open until April 8th. And On April 7th, it's a full faculty senate meeting. And at that meeting, I'm going to be bringing the faculty senate up to speed on where we are, reminding people that they still have 24 hours or so to submit their name or somebody else's name. And so that we will have the ballot finalized, hopefully that weekend. And then the next week, Blair, are we still on schedule for sometime the next week for the ballots to go out?
That's the plan, absolutely.
Okay. And everybody who normally votes in a faculty senate is eligible to cast a ballot, even if they're not eligible to be on the committee, correct?
That's correct. And just
Okay.
for anyone here who's not sure who that is, on our campus, faculty are defined as anyone who's not in the non-classified service. Anybody who's in the non-classified service. So on our campus, that actually includes people like our deans, people like our president, people that work in our Student Success Center. It's a very broad definition, and we're really happy to have it that way.
Okay, thank you. So we have the contract with RPA Consultants, which, as I mentioned the last time, is the consulting firm that SUNY Central has an existing contract with. So because we're under the threshold for money, we were able to piggyback on that contract without going out to bid and doing all that stuff all over again. So we're moving forward, and I'm hoping that probably the third week in April, we will have results of the election of the teaching faculty, and we will be moving forward to set up a meeting with the consulting firm. So the broad time frame has changed a little bit, but basically the schedule right now, and it's moving, I'm sure, as we speak, is that we will have the first meeting of the committee with, it will be the chancellor and also RPA, and we'll also be having a brief bias-related training to reiterate the importance of diversity and equity and inclusion on the committee as well as on our campus. And for people that might be concerned about it, the bulk of the work of the committee members will be in the fall. We're, unlike in the past when we had paper files, partly because of the pandemic and partly because we have the technology available, a lot of this is going to be done virtually. The one exception to that is when we get to near the end of the search, when we bring the 3 to 5 candidates who are finalists to interview by the committee, that will be in person. Because I think it's important that we actually meet the candidate finalists and we actually see them in action.
Excuse me, June, will those meetings take place in Potsdam, or will they have to be in Albany?
I think they're gonna take place here, because I think it's important for them to see the campus and meet some of the people. I mean, I think it's kind of like, we used to require in-person interviews with prospective students and accepted students. And that went away for a number of reasons, but I still think it's important for you to actually be hands-on. And I mean that figuratively, not literally. Although we can shake hands, we can still do that with or without a mask, depending on vaccination status. So the world has changed. It's affected everything and everybody. This isn't any different. But just so you know that in mid to late July, RPA will open a secure portal. So as committee members, we will be able to see their letter of interest, their CV, other information that they've sent in. And so, again, mid to late July, the committee members will be able to go in, log into the portal with the passwords, and begin reviewing the files. So when we've done that, we'll narrow it down to the top 20 people that will be looked into further. Now, Zuleika Rodriguez is the, can't remember her exact title, but she is the person in SUNY Central that's been charged by the chancellor with presidential recruitment, evaluation. So she's going to be helping us throughout this process as we begin narrowing down. So the last timeline I saw was once you've begun the review, and you can do that at your leisure. I think it's by August 20th that you will submit your list of the top 20 people.
I think it's, I'll double check. But
Yeah,
I
it-
just wanted to let you
yep.
know that someone had their hand up on Zoom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, I'll double check that date though for you.
Did someone have their hand up?
Willie has his hand up.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm sorry if I missed this. Are we retaining a search firm? And so how are we getting to these candidates? Who is helping put together the job description, and also where are we announcing it? So do we have a DEI representative on the committee that's working with that? I heard you mention the committee is going to have some sort, I thought you said, of implicit bias training, but do we have a representative consistently on this team? And then what is the diversity officer's charge and responsibility with ensuring, let's just say, the equity-mindedness of the search in totality?
Okay, the rules from SUNY Central basically tell you who has to be on the committee. Now, I knew I should have brought the list with me, but it's 4 council members, including the chair, 6 faculty, teaching faculty that we just defined, 1 student, 1 foundation representative, 1 alumni board representative, 1 academic dean, 1 professional or support staff, 1 former SUNY president from another campus or a member of the chancellor's senior staff that she will select. Do you have that list, Natalie? Am I forgetting something?
I'm looking for it, but the date that, the candidates are due is August 22nd.
Okay, August 22nd
Yes.
is when you submit your list of the top 20, in your opinion. So there is no provision in the regulations for the CDO.
Right, well, I would, so it would seem contrary to what we've been talking about, especially as CDOs throughout the SUNY system, that we wouldn't have a diversity officer or somebody from a DEI component involved with the search to, again, everything from making sure this messaging is going out, how it's being framed, where it's being advertised, and then also being present in interviews, as opposed to making sure that everyone has kind of checked the box of just having their bias training. So I'm sure you're giving me the guidelines. I just want to voice that question and kind of have that on record, that's raises my curiosity.
Great. Thank you, Willie, I appreciate that. Don't shoot the messenger, I didn't make the rules.
No, again, to be clear, I appreciate you reading that. It's not my intent at all to incriminate you or anyone else in it. I'm just saying this is some things I think that, raise, again, just my awareness, and I'm wondering how we're doing that in an equity-minded type of way when we're looking for this pivotal position.
Okay, thank you. And your concern is noted. you know, personally, I also have a problem with there only being one student. But it is what it is, as they say. So we will move forward, and for those of you that will want to contact me, if you're interested in actually being one of the 3 other council members, let me know, and we'll try to get this all finalized. Oh, there's one academic dean, I don't think I said that person.
I would just add that, to answer some of Willie's question, there will be a SUNY CDO who will be doing the,
Right.
implicit bias training.
Yep.
So, they have someone in mind already, I
Yep.
believe, they just need to ask.
Ask, make sure
Yes.
their schedule is
Yes.
open. Okay, so that's longer than I've planned on talking about it, but it's a big, important, complicated process. And so, and no pressure to the committee, and I'll tell you this at the first meeting, is don't feel, you know, any pressure. It's just that we're looking for God on a good day. And hopefully we will find him or her on our time frame. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions for me?
Didn't Blair have his hand up?
Blair has his hand up?
I had his hand up. You mentioned that it was more time than you wanted to spend. I think that dissuaded him from continuing to have his hand up.
Blair?
I was going to wait till it was, I took my hand down, as Willie noted, because I knew I would get a chance to speak later. But I just wanted to echo that I agree with Willie's sentiments entirely. And I think this is exactly a place where we've moved forward in SUNY when it comes to diversity in some ways. We still haven't caught up in all ways. And this is a place where the guidelines need to catch up. And so I intend to ask our University Faculty Senator to push this with the University Faculty Senate and see if we can't, nudge SUNY to fix these guidelines to better represent diversity issues on our presidential search committees. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you.
I also posted in the chat the link for anybody else who wanted.
Who wanted to nominate?
No, I posted the link to the SUNY website where that lists all the rules.
Oh, the list,
And if they
okay.
wanted to look at it,
I should probably get it tattooed on my hand. All right, except I'm not having any body alterations, let's just leave it at that. Okay. All right, Phil.
How can you
Oh,
improve upon perfection?
oh. Thank you. And now, moving right along, Dr. Nizer.
Thank you, June. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you all here. Meet some of you for the first time. Hi, Molly.
Hi.
Long time no see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to repeat everything in the report that I submitted. I'll spare you that. A couple of updates and details on the budget situation response side. We're doing well with our reallocation of resources in ways that will, and already show some signs of promising to grow enrollment at the college and with finding efficiencies and so on. Detail I want to share that you may have heard about is that we are going to host the World University Games here. Several different colleges in the area are going to host hockey games as part of the World University Games. The World University Games is sort of at the Olympics level, but it's for college students, and every so many years it's held in the United States, and this year it's going to be, in January, it's going to be held here. The finals of some events will be at Lake Placid, but we are going to be the athletic village. The contract is not completed yet with the organization, so there is that wrinkle. There's always those delays there, but we're optimistic about it. They're in the final stages of working that out. And so Knowles Hall, Big Residence Hall, will be home to the athletic village and the athletes village, and that'll actually pay for some needed upgrades and repair in Knowles and so forth, which is very exciting. And also, We're going to not utilize Knowles all of next year for students, so we do have fewer students. We can house all our residential students without using Knowles Hall, and that will mean that certain custodial personnel who are retiring, et cetera, we don't actually have to replace them. I mean, so we're finding efficiencies like that on the academic side and as well as on the non-academic side. This is on the non-academic side, and so things are going well, and I'm becoming optimistic, about financial health and so forth. I also want to report that I really enjoyed the SUNY President's Meeting. That's what it was called. It really is not the right title. It'd be better called like a system meeting. So all the SUNY presidents, and including the officers in charge, I'm not the only one, there is another one, met in Albany with the chancellor and with a lot of people from system. And in addition, then there was a reception, and at the reception, many other folks came, including some legislators. So it was a chance to do a little lobbying with the legislators. We worked on our talking points during the day. Interesting details there. Some legislators, they think SUNY has a lot of money, a lot of extra money, and because they see reserves, right? Well, no, those reserves are already spent. Those are this type of account or that type of account, and some of those accounts are highly populated money because of fees people paid, and we're committed, we're required to use those fees for certain expenses that are upcoming and so forth. So we explain all that to legislators when we get the chance. That went really well. System is very supportive of SUNY Potsdam and providing us with a lot of assistance and so on. And I was able to tell them in person all about what we're doing here. That was a good opportunity. That was good. So that was a good event. I can tell you a little more about something in my report, which is the Regional Financial Services Collaborative. Details are still being worked on for the budgetary system support, the finance arrangement for next year for SUNY Potsdam. We still will be funneling some of our spending requests over at X amount to SUNY for approval. We're getting a lot of support there, though, so that's working, and they are helping us improve our budgeting and all that. The new arrangement, we expect to have details to be finalized, an in-person full-time budget director and a system part-time person assigned to help us. The person that is going to help us, we believe, and I think actually now the MOU is finalized regarding Nick Leno?
Almost.
Almost, okay.
Yes.
So he's a chief financial officer at Herkimer Community College, and he's going to be giving us a hand. And he really has a high regard for SUNY Potsdam and knows a lot about SUNY Potsdam and has been to SUNY Potsdam. He's going to come up regularly, if we get it all finalized, which I think we will. Also, we have hired a new chief diversity officer. That is official. That is, paper is signed, sealed, and delivered, so to speak. Jacqueline Richardson Malacio. Actually, she's in town today in order to look for a place to live for when she gets here, which will be in May sometime. And she will start. And she has 20-plus years experience in executive level management, program implementation, workforce development, and specifically a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion professional development training for higher ed and elsewhere as well for organizations, especially healthcare administration, healthcare organizations. She's a bilingual leader. She got her 3 degrees, her BA, MA, and PhD from University of Albany. She was also, she is a first generation, well, she was a first generation college student when she was a college student, when she was a bachelor's student. She was in the EOP program. We're very excited about her coming here. Oh, she also has lived in the area. She has familiarity with the area. And so that's very exciting. And we'll all meet her soon. And this is a good opportunity for me to say thank you to you, Willie. So Willie Williams, Willie has stepped in to help us as our part-time Chief Diversity Officer, done a great job, doing a great job, specifically helping students. For example, our bias incidents response team work, guidance, advice, and all-around leadership at the college. Thank you, Willie. Much appreciated. What else? Okay, so this is a little difficult. A couple people are leaving. One of them is our and my Chief of Staff, Nasli Kirchner. So this is Nasli's last semester, and that's very difficult. She's going on to new things, and came here last year with President John Graham, and after this sad and unfortunate, untimely passing, stayed here, and thank goodness for that, and really has helped me tremendously, and I don't know how I would have landed and successfully moved forward without your help, Nasli, so kudos to you. Thank you. Also, Diane, who provides a lot of leadership to the College Council. Diane Marie Collins is also leaving. I think for her next adventure, we'll be living on a sailboat. And you'll be very missed, Diane.
I will miss everybody.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Send us a postcard.
Yes. Plus, yeah, invitations, as well are welcome, yeah, uh-huh. There's 3 berths on the boat, right?
They're all taken.
Oh. Never mind, okay.
You have room for a sleeping bag?
Yeah, we could probably work that out. We get a lot of deck space.
So there you have it. That's my report.
Thank
What's
you,
next,
Phil.
boss?
Oh, what's next? Yeah, it's bittersweet. You'd have to say goodbye to Nasli and to Diane Marie. And they are both on to their next adventure. Diane sounds a little more adventurous, shall we say. Natalie's had her big adventure being separated from her home and her husband, and, for just about a year, and she's done a great job. Diane is a fixture here. We stole her from SUNY Canton too, Phil.
Yes, I know, yeah.
But it's all, as I said before, it's all in the family. So we will
Yeah.
miss you two greatly and wish you all the best, fun, excitement, new challenges, and we know that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, it'll be the best. So thank you both for your service. Diane Marie left an envelope that has your new parking stickers, so you can be legal on campus again.
Thank you.
Now that we're back, almost in person forever, we'll see about that. All right, so now we're gonna move right along. Does anybody have any questions for Phil?
Yeah.
Yes.
Notice that you said that it's April and spring. Can you guarantee that it'll be spring in April?
Oh.
It is April right now.
Yeah, but he said it's right here.
We're waiting on the paperwork from System for that, I'm sorry, so it takes a while. It was an MOU, but it's supposed to be an agreement, it's very technical. We'll see.
Blair, raising her hand.
Okay, yeah, because Blair's gonna go
Blair.
first. But before I forget, I neglected to introduce Kylie Wilkins.
Oh.
Kylie is a sophomore majoring in chemistry education. There you go. And she's from Dannemora. I told her I spent a lot of time there with the governor when those two guys decided to
Oh.
leave. So welcome Kylie. She's a sophomore, so we'll be seeing more of her. And she's running for
President again.
election as president again, yes. So assuming that happens, you'll be on the council next year too.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and that election is April 7th.
In the spring,
It's a
yeah.
popular night, popular date, Blair. Date of the Faculty Senate meeting, all right. I think I also neglected to tell you that Rich Daddario, our council member, was here briefly, but he is away. He's a business agent for the laborers union, and he's in the middle of negotiations, so he sent his apology. He had to check out early. All right, Blair, it's your turn, because Blair has class at 11 o'clock, but at least he doesn't have to change his shirt.
Thank you so much, June. I appreciate you putting me this quickly on the agenda. I do have a question for Phil, but I'll give it at the end of my report. I know you all received a written report. I just want to hit the highlights, and then if you want to ask me questions, we can discuss things further. The first thing I noted in my report is that on February 17th, we received, the faculty received a copy of the realignment plan from our administration. It's a huge plan. It is marked as draft and confidential for our internal use.
Blair, could you slow down, or could you turn him up a little bit? I'm just working to hear you there.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll start again. On February 17th, we received the realignment plan from the administration.
Yeah.
And the people it's a very big plan. It's marked as draft and confidential, but it's meant for internal use on campus. The plan has been examined forwards and backwards by people in various ways. There's been responses. There's more responses to come. Phil actually issued an update just this week, which we appreciate receiving that. Generally, the faculty are not very happy about this. And I'm not so sure, in fairness to all of our administrators, I'm not so sure that any plan that was coming out that's intended to address our financial situation we were going to be happy about. But I'll just say I'm particularly unhappy with this plan. We are hoping that over time, since this is listed as a draft, that we will be able to keep the best parts of this plan and convince our administrators to jettison what we consider to be the worst parts of the plan. And that's what we certainly intend to do. Recently, the Faculty Senate has approved some new programs. There's a minor in marketing, a minor in forensic studies, and we approved a dual degree program with a university in Ukraine, which is a complicated situation, but we're very hopeful that we might actually be able to admit some students in that program and thereby also help get them to a safer place. We have approved a plan for a graduate academic standing, similar to undergraduate academic standing, so that grad students sort of have a warning sign when they're getting in trouble. We don't let things go too far, which didn't exist before. We have begun reviewing some of the requests from the realignment process. For instance, a request that we consider removing the physical education or health and wellness requirement, and a recommendation that we consider removing the requirement for a 300-level course as part of the General Education Pathways program. As June noted, we are heavily engaged in a process of nominations right now. In addition to the presidential search, which we are engaged in electing 6 faculty members to, we have been engaged in an election to find faculty to serve on the search committee for the vice president for college advancement. And we have just successfully finished that election. And we are in the process of recruiting people to stand for an election to our various faculty senate committees and executive positions. And this is proving to be a challenge. As you may not be surprised, it's fair to characterize people on our campus, all people on our campus, as being exhausted at this point. The continuing effects of the pandemic, our fiscal crisis, everything that's been going on, other tragic events on our campus have really taken a toll on people. And so getting people to step forward for these committees and for these positions is difficult. Although there's a silver lining to it, I think, which is that the prospect of a new president, the prospect of a new vice president for college advancement, the prospect of new committee members in our faculty senate gives people something to look forward to and maybe get excited about in some cases. And so I'm holding on to that, and I'm I've certainly seen people are excited about the presidential search because I got a ton of nominations for that. I wish I had gotten as many from my faculty senate positions, but that's where things are. I would take questions if anybody has them. I do have a question for Phil. Phil, can you say again or clarify what the situation with the chief financial officer is? You mentioned that you were getting some temporary help. Is there a more permanent plan as well?
Well, it's not all finalized, and I have to emphasize that. So I ask you to wait and stay tuned for an announcement, which will come shortly. We expect to have a part-time senior budget advisor assigned to us, who also works at another SUNY school, community college, as I mentioned, and he will be our liaison to SUNY and will also work with us and with the person we plan to search for, which is a budget director, okay? That's where we're at. We got to get that finalized and announced. What that will turn into, we'll see. I don't know, right? So within a certain number of months, a year and a half, I hope that we have a chief financial officer all our own, right? And I think that's the trajectory that we're on. But we can't say right now that we will or when we will and that sort of thing. We don't know yet.
Thank you.
Any questions for Blair? I hope somebody nominates someone for secretary, Blair. Poor Blair's been doing it all for about a year now without a full-time Senate secretary. All right.
Thank you for that, June. I have threatened them that if I don't get a secretary, I'm stepping down, and I mean it. But I'm not too worried. I'm pretty sure we're going to get somebody this election cycle.
Okay, great. Thanks, Blair.
Thank you, Blair.
And now, Kylie, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi. If I'm too loud on Zoom, I know I kind of project sometimes too much, so just like let me know. And if I'm not loud enough, also let me know. Hi, as June introduced, I'm Kylie. I'm the current SGA president. I'm going to kind of highlight what I have in my report, and if there's questions, just let me know. Okay, our current e-board members, or executive board, I am the current president as well as acting vice president until April 7th, and then we will have new e-board members, so I'm super excited. I've been wearing many hats, so it will be nice to not wear as many. Our treasurer is Richard Lawton, our comptroller is Ashley Langton, and our secretary is Zion Taylor. And we've all been working really hard to set some new campus initiatives for our clubs. We currently have about 36 clubs, and we're adding new clubs weekly. It's super exciting. I'm super glad, because the more things we have on campus for students to do, the more exciting it is to be here on campus. So one of our initiatives is making SGA an enriching experience and really helping our clubs develop leadership skills and have a solution-oriented mindset. We're really looking to have our clubs be able to go out into our community and solve the problems that they see. As much as we as an e-board love helping people solve their problems, our goal is to have people develop enough skills to solve their own problems and have us just be a liaison for them. And that's a big goal of ours, and hopefully the new e-board will have that same mindset. We're also working on an accessibility resolution that passed in our assembly, and we're working very hard to make sure that students with disabilities can access their basic human needs. That resolution is constantly being reassessed and constantly being re-looked at. It's not just a stagnant thing. We're also trying to keep students here. Student retention is really important to us as students, because as much as we want new students to be here at SUNY Potsdam, we want to keep the ones we have, because the community we have here, I believe, is the most important thing, and it's a big seller. I mean, I know I came here to SUNY Potsdam because the second I stepped on campus, I just felt the community and I wanted to be here, and I know a lot of students feel that way. So we're trying to keep students here by making a lot of programs that help you in your professional career and just develop those leadership skills. Because in any job in life, you really need strong leadership skills. And yeah, we're helping our clubs advertise after COVID. A lot of our clubs have very low numbers and are growing, and we're really glad because we have some really great clubs here on campus with some really strong initiatives, and we're just trying to help them build members and advertise themselves to incoming freshmen so that they can get more people and be involved. We're currently working on an infrastructure project. None of this is finalized. We don't have the money yet. We haven't, it was proposed to Assembly yesterday, so very new stuff. Assembly really loves it, but I'm gonna introduce it to you, but nothing is set in stone yet. This infrastructure project would hopefully reside in Marshall Park, and it would be an outdoor concert hall. We think it'd be a very big add to SUNY Potsdam, because Crane is a large part of this school, and also having this outdoor space will promote the love of the North Country, because we have a beautiful environment. And in the wintertime, it'd be able to be used by some of our programs here, like the Wilderness Education Program, and some other programs to have like a roof over their head. This project was came about for the memory of Beth Howell. We already talked to the foundation board, and we can't name this structure after Beth Howell due to building constraints and cost. We're not going to spend the amount of money that you would need to spend in order to name the building after Beth, but our plan is to have some kind of garden, tree, or some kind of structure near the building to talk about Beth's life and to talk about why the structure was thought of. And yeah, so I presented that to Assembly yesterday. People are really excited about it. People love the idea of honoring her in this way, even if it's not named after her directly. I think it's a really great way for students to cope and for students to have a long-standing structure that both benefits the community and helps them move a little bit more towards peace. I just wanted to thank all of you for continued support. It's been a rough year. I think we all know that. And students are very excited to be back on campus, and the community is very alive again. And I hope that we can continue staying in person and continue these initiatives. And if you have any concerns, you can reach out to me at sgapres, which is PRES@potsdam.edu, and I check my email, like they're my text messages, so I will get back to you. And yeah, if there's any questions, I can take them now.
Thank you, Kylie. Are there any questions, comments, concerns? No, sounds like you stepped right in and
I've been trying.
you're steering the ship forward. Thank you very much. And I will attest to the fact that she does check her emails and she responds, because I sometimes wonder. All right, now it's time for our provost's report. Dr. Bergeron.
Hi, good morning. It's good to see everybody in our new hybrid format, but it's great to be able to be together at least this way. And thank you, Kylie, for your leadership and stepping forward in this time. We really, really appreciate it and are so glad that you're part of the leadership of this campus. So best of luck to you with all the amazing things that you're doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just a couple of things, and then if you have questions about anything specifically that was in the report, just please let me know. One is, of course, the reminder of our Middle States accreditation visit, which starts on Sunday with what would have been a reception here on campus with wine and the ability to see each other in person, but of course we can't do that this year. So the introductory meeting starts at Sunday via Zoom, as are all of the meetings during the review visit. So we'll have a really busy Sunday through Wednesday. concluding with a very formalized reading of the report, the preliminary report, on Wednesday morning. And for those who haven't been part of a Middle States review for a little while, the reading of the report is an interesting formalized process where literally that's what happens. The chair reads the report and then turns the video off and the meeting ends. So it's awkward. I just want to give folks a heads up that it's not a situation for discussion. So it seems a little weird because we have 2 days of wonderful discussion and feedback and celebrating all the things this campus does, and then it really comes to an abrupt end on the last day. The report will be preliminary. The final decisions regarding accreditations and the accompanying recommendations and requirements comes from the commission, and their meeting is in June. So what we hear on Wednesday is just the preliminary findings from the external review team. And I do want to publicly thank Gordon Plague, a professor in biology, and Julie Dole, the director of Res Life, for the incredible work that they have done over the last almost 3 years now. It's a real heavy lift to lead this process on any campus, and they have full-time jobs. So they have just been amazing in everything that they have done to prepare us for this visit. So I wanted to make sure that they were publicly acknowledged for that incredible work. So I can certainly answer any questions about the Middle States process. I have served as a reviewer, so have a little bit of recent knowledge and information as well. I do want to also, though, first address the issue of the academic affairs realignment, with full recognition that this is a difficult process, and I do understand the concerns from the faculty and others. Keep in mind that this important process was initiated under Dr. Graham with recognition that the campus needed to take very bold steps in order to address very real, ongoing, persistent fiscal challenges. And these fiscal challenges will be the highlight of the Middle States Review. All right, so it's important to keep that context in mind. We did not have enough time to fully go through a prioritization process. Those usually take 18 months to 2 years. We didn't have time to do that within the timeline that we were given. However, it's important to realize that Dr. Graham was recognizing a sense of urgency when giving the charge to me and to the academic team. Right, so that's important to keep in mind. The financial situation is real and the urgency is real. But we didn't have time to go through the kind of process that we know needed to happen to have full involvement and engagement and the deliberative process that in normal times and circumstances would have happened. So I do want to acknowledge Dr. Graham's vision for knowing that we needed to take that action. So the plan is a draft for the very sad reason that Dr. Graham passed away before I had the opportunity to work with him on the finalized recommendations, right? So what we have is a plan that is what I believe the best of what we could do given an extremely short timeline. We use data from various sources. The IE office was incredibly helpful in providing a lot of data to us very quickly. The deans worked with their chairs and faculty to get a lot of narrative information about programs very quickly during a very busy time of the fall semester. All of that was considered as I worked with my leadership team in making what was the initial round of recommendations for Dr. Graham. What has happened since then? Had several meetings, both with my team and then of course with Dr. Neisser about what the next steps are, and those were outlined in the campus communication. It's important to keep in mind is that Dr. Neisser has given the deans the authority to move forward with all departments, but specifically those that were outlined in the report, to move forward in crafting what are the next steps that make the most sense for those departments, right? Timelines that make the most sense, goals that make the most sense. What are the next steps? Not forgetting, please, the sense of urgency with the campus's reality with our enrollment and fiscal situation. I also want to point to the fact that the report isn't just a list of 10 or so programs in particular to spotlight. The report also outlines a lot of really amazing work that is ongoing to help in terms of turning our enrollment around. Some really fun stuff coming out of Modern Languages, for example, and a huge thanks to Dean Galbraith in her work on this with a cross-institutional collaboration or consortium across multiple universities in the SUNY system in regards to modern language courses that will be online and shared across the campuses so that we are all helping each other out and lifting each other up. That is just amazing. Our program with Secretary Chance Pell, our program for individuals who are incarcerated, that looks like we'll have huge growth in that prison program in the spring, in the fall, I mean. So really great stuff. We're moving programs online as quickly as we can with the resources that we have. We should soon have all of our graduate programs within the School of Education and Professional Studies online very soon. So a huge thanks to everyone involved with that, in particular Dean Grant for his leadership in that area. Our graduate programs are growing. So great work with Alan Hersker and his team and really getting the word out. Thank you with Mindy and Pat for some really focused marketing as a great billboard in Malone, I believe it is right now. Really great work there. So huge shout out there. So it's important to realize that the report wasn't just let's pick on X number of programs, but also to celebrate some great new programs that have been launched, a lot of work that's going on right now across academic departments and divisions to really address the issues of enrollment, the new programs that are needed to meet market demands in the region, and faculty and administrators that are truly doing an incredible job during a very difficult time for our campus, or any campuses right now, to be honest. They're just doing such an incredible job. So I do also want to thank my incredible team, and welcome to Will Gibbons, our Dean of the Crane School of Music. You have hit the ground running, a lot going on to be a new dean, so huge kudos for Will's leadership. But there's a lot going on. The urgency is still real, and I do want to thank all of the administrators and the faculty who are really stepping up to make a change and make a difference so that our campus will be viable in the future. So with that, June, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Betty. Any questions?
Yes. Dr. Bergeron, is the purpose of these online courses that you're pushing forward, is that to save costs or to attract more students?
The second, attract more students. Putting courses online definitely doesn't save money, right? But growing enrollment definitely helps in terms of increasing access, which is really important to our mission, as well as expanding our enrollment. And we have already seen that happen within those programs that have been launched. So we're looking right now at programs to be online, not individual courses. There are, of course, courses within those programs that are online, but the focus right now is on online programs. So, yeah, we have seen some great initial bumps in our enrollments now that we have some that are already fully online.
Any other questions?
So are they hybrid online courses or?
We do offer some hybrid courses, but for our online programs, the courses have to be fully online in order to be considered by SUNY as an online program.
Other questions?
I have just a
Go ahead.
comment. So I really appreciate the nuts and bolts that you just gave, and just getting to the core issues that we have to be facing. There's this common conception, or a common occurrence, I guess I should say, in the Army, and I'm sure in everyone's profession there is as well, but when the general is coming in for a briefing, you know, we tell him everything is hunky-dory and everything's great, even if the sky is falling. And then after the meeting, we go into a room with the colonel, his executive officer, and talk about everything that's broken and how we're gonna fix it so that by the next meeting, you know, we actually can be truthful to the general and give him the full scope of everything and say, it's okay, we put out all the fires, sir. I felt personally for a long time that this board has been, you know, just kind of the general in this situation, where we kind of just get everything that's hunky-dory about the situation. And obviously that's not the entirety of the truth, right? Like you said, there's a lot of positives going on, but we are at a crossroads right now. And Dr. Graham made that very, very known at our last meeting, or 2 meetings ago. So I just appreciate the sense of just openness and transparency, and I think that's the same way we have to deal with this across the board with everyone, so that everybody understands the situation that we're in, so that when those hard decisions have to be made by the people that are going to make them, there's reason behind them, right? And getting to those decisions as transparent and open as possible is the best way for us to do our job. So thank you, Betty, and everyone else that's going to be in that decision-making process going forward.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, I'd like to make some comments also, not so much questions. One thing is about realignment. Yes, the plan was released as a draft, but I've accepted the recommendations. So in that sense, we have moved past the draft phase. I've accepted the recommendations with the clarifications that you, Betty, just summarized so well about the authority the deans have to work with each program in an individualized way to consider enrollment enhancement adjustments and the like that we can make. And a lot of those processes are underway. And even before the realignment plan was created, a lot of innovation has been underway in some departments. And the process of this realignment work is spreading that. And so it's all about, yes, reaching more prospective students and keeping the students here who have enrolled. Retention and recruitment. And online courses are important here, especially in the grad area, because a lot of the prospective students, where there are more and more prospective students each year as opposed to less, is in the non-traditional, not 18 years old group. Stop-outs they're sometimes called, some college no degree students. And so that means specifically there are individuals with families, with jobs, who looking to get a college degree or looking to change careers and so on. And some of them, they can't come in person to a residential college, but they can take an online grad program or an online undergrad program. In fact, one of our undergraduate programs is working on developing an online version of their degree. That's a bigger lift because there's gen ed courses that have to be available online. There's general electives. It's different than a grad program, but we're making strides in all those areas. Yes, so the other thing I want to mention is digital marketing. We have launched a digital marketing campaign. I mentioned that in my report, but it's a good place now to say it again because it's so important. A lot of the coin of the action now, the coin of the realm is being on one's phone. That's how you find out about a college, and you're on Instagram, whatever it is, all the stuff that for years I could have cared less about, right? Well, I got to know more about it, and we've invested some money in digital marketing, and it's already showing some positive results. I think more people need to find out about SUNY Potsdam, and then, as you said, Kylie, they need to come here. So we've, because once people get here, they become engaged, they love the region and so forth. Multicultural weekend is upcoming, the alternative spring break, bringing students here on buses from the New York City area to visit the campus. We're funding some of those things again, and the end of the summer, or we hope permanent, but we'll see, at least for now, the end of some of the pandemic restrictions have helped with that. So those are some positives. Yes, thank you, Betty.
Anything else? No, thank you, Betty. Melissa Prue, it's your turn to tell us about.
Good morning. So I wanted to provide a little bit more details on the World University Games. Patrick O'Brien, who's been leading this, actually just recently had 22 representatives from World University Games on campus, and they were touring Knowles Hall and Maxey Hall. And they were from all over the world, Germany, Korea, Italy, so we had all kinds of visitors here, so that's pretty cool. And our Athletes Village, as of right now, will host 10 men's teams and 8 women's teams, along with their trainers and medical staff. In terms of our large facility projects, Bishop Hall, that is on schedule, and it's projected for occupancy this fall, so fall of 2022. And Carson Hall, the abatement project was completed in January, and Roy Smith will be looking to have this go out to bid in May, so this May. Updates on employees. We have a wellness week for employees this April. Sheila Harris is leading that initiative, so there'll be different activities throughout the week for employees to engage in. The testing for unvaccinated employees is still happening at our on-campus site, which is great. That is going very well. And that testing is through August of 2022. And just a note that UUP is actually starting their negotiations with the state on their new collective bargaining agreement. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Questions? Comments? I can't remember, I know I told some of you this, I think, but a friend of mine, Mike Ryan, who is a fairly recently retired state trooper, is the head of security for the university games.
Oh.
And I ran into him at a wake, but he was saying great stuff about Patrick O'Brien and how great he was to work with and how he's on top of everything. But we have that connection as well, so if I can help with anything, let me know.
Thank you. And Patrick is great.
Yeah.
How long do these games last?
3 weeks, Melissa, something like that? Do you know?
I didn't hear the question.
How long do the games last?
Oh, I think it's 3 weeks.
I have a comment. Students are really excited about this. Like, it's bringing a lot of like joy and like pride in Potsdam. Like that this is like coming here. It's very exciting. I know I'm a student, but it's very exciting. Lots of students have been talking about it. They're very excited that they're using Knowles because the hope as students have is that it will be improved. And yeah, they're just really, it's bringing a positive light to our campus and a very big excitement feature.
It's a good thing. We're looking forward to that.
It will bring some free digital marketing too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
provided by others, a lot of press, which is very good.
And to a target audience.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. And now Sal Kania. Sal's
Yes,
going to be leaving
good morning,
us.
everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I have two updates and a reminder. In terms of fundraising, we are now at $2.5 million towards our goal of 2.8 for this fiscal year. And we are looking at hitting that goal and hopefully surpassing that goal as we have done in the last several years, and doing that by the end of the fiscal year. Of particular benefit to us this year was the New York State Charitable Tax Credit Program. We garnered over $650,000 through that program, and we are looking forward to participating in that again in 2022. I believe we will start working with that maybe in September, and be looking for donors to participate there. The college and the Potsdam College Foundation continue their collaboration on a joint venture to launch a comprehensive fundraising campaign. Just last week, the foundation executive committee voted to move forward into the leadership phase, and I expect that the full board will vote as well to move forward into the leadership phase at their board meeting on April 9th. The leadership phase is hopefully will be a 2-year period where we will talk to donors and get commitments for some of the larger gifts into the campaign that will help us reach a final decision on the goal moving forward. We are currently talking in the range of $40 to $50 million. We hope that by 2024, we will be prepared with a final goal and launching the public phase of the campaign at that time. And finally, just a reminder, alumni reunion is scheduled for July 14 to 17. We will be in person this year and also offer some virtual options. And because this is the first time now in 3 years that we've been able to have alumni join us back on the campus, we're extending invitations, especially to the reunion years for 2022, 21, and 2020. So we're really looking forward to having folks back and having a good time here in July. Can I help with any questions?
Questions? I have a comment. Sal is retiring, hence the search for the new Vice President of Advancement. We're going to miss you, Sal. You left once before, but you came back.
Yeah, there are several analogies I could use there regarding coals and pennies. But in total, I've been honored and privileged to serve my alma mater for about 23 years, and a great pleasure. It's joyous work to be in advancement and doing the work that we do on behalf of such incredible colleagues that I have here, volunteers, and of course the students. So I give my thanks, my appreciation, and I look forward to continue being connected.
I'm sure you will.
I don't have a question, but I have a complaint. Sal is retiring.
That's right.
Yes, Sal, thank you so much specifically for what you've done for me, the advice you've given me, all that I've learned from you, and your leadership at the college. Much appreciated. You'll be missed.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sal. Patrick Quinn, our Vice President for Enrollment Management.
Good morning, good morning. As you know, we have submitted the report, so hopefully any questions that relate to that, I'm happy to address. Just a couple of quick updates to that report and some highlights moving forward. We did have our first accepted student day last weekend. We had just about 100 accepted students and another 200 of their closest family members with them. It was a new format. We think it went well. We've gotten good response both from our guests and also from our participants, which, as you know, at this time of the year really includes everybody. All hands on deck, faculty, staff, student volunteers, support staff. Everybody played a big role in making that day a success. We have an upcoming accepted student day scheduled for April 23rd. We currently have 127 students and a total of 400 people signed up for that event. We anticipate maybe adding another 30 to 40 students, primarily through a special grant that we were able to receive from SUNY to provide transportation for some of our New York City students who have been accepted to our ELP program. And so they have an opportunity to come to Accepted Student Day with a parent or guardian, which is critical. And I know Phil mentioned the bus trip that we were able to secure funds for our multicultural weekend. Keep in mind that these students have not been to campus. This will be their first campus visit. So that's a key part in their decision making. You know, they may have been accepted and they may be excited about Potsdam, but if they've never seen it, they really don't know much about it. So these events are critical to kind of opening their eyes a little bit, providing what I would consider a realistic view of what it might be like to be a student here. I think that's important. We can't sugarcoat that, we have a major mall down the block where they can walk to and do their shopping. They have to realize where we're located. We're proud of our location, but they need to know that as well. The other piece that I'd like to update is as you know, we're kind of in I don't want to call it the home stretch because we work very hard to bring in every student right up to the start of the semester. But our May 1st deposit deadline, universally, most schools look at May 1st as a deadline. For us, it's just one point in time in the cycle that we take a snapshot to see where we are and what we can project for the fall. So that's the next several weeks, including these activities, is key to our yielding the accepted students. I will point out that we have around 12 to 13% more accepted students in our pool at this point, so that bodes well for our projection of bringing in 510 freshmen. 90% of the students that we emailed related to scholarship eligibility have opened that email. That's also a key indicator for us to pay attention to. We have 30 accepted students in ELP, which compared to last year at this time, I think we had 13. So our numbers in those programs are going to be strong. We have a variety of yield activities, again, moving forward. In addition to the events, we have student ambassadors calling and writing postcards. We have alumni volunteers emailing, calling, and sending letters to accepted students. Obviously, we have the admissions staff as well, reaching out to their accepted students. We have faculty and other support staff reaching out to students who have expressed interest in their program. So it's a full court press, if you will. March Madness is happening, so that's appropriate. And I think the thing I want to close with on a positive note in terms of funding, we were selected because of, one, our location being in a rural location, the percentage of our students who are Pell eligible, and the fact that, unfortunately, our enrollment has declined in a period of time during COVID. There was a minimum percentage. So we were able to apply for another federal grant support, sort of connected to the HERF and the American Rescue Plan. Our application was submitted last week. We're hoping to hear relatively soon, but we put in for a grant of $5 million for student funding that we can then turn over, like we've done with the HERF grants, to students to support, their expenses and their challenges with their family. And then we also requested $5 million for institutional funding, which also will help go towards our bottom line and kind of clean up our deficit for this budget year as well. So we're hoping to hear back relatively soon, but I'm excited because it gives us some additional resources to, one, impact our overall campus budget and our needs there, but more importantly, our students and their challenges and struggles to afford higher education in the midst of the pandemic. And I think this will have a real positive impact on our student retention. So at that, I'd like to leave it there and open it up to any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you, Patrick. Questions? On the accepted student days, is there some kind of a brief presentation to the prospective students on the university games?
I don't think we haven't included that. Certainly it wasn't in the first presentation. Off the top of my head, I didn't sit through the entire student affairs presentation, maybe where it might be highlighted in terms of maybe updating a presentation. We can probably do that. The series of presentations, what happened on the accepted student day, most of the students got a welcome. We had a current student kind of speak from the perspective of a student, how valuable her time was here at Potsdam and what she's able to accomplish and what she's hoping to do. Then we separated the students from the families, and the families received presentations from student success, financial aid, student accounts, student affairs, res life, academic support, a number of areas on campus. And then the students went off and met with individual departments. Their academic interests were represented, so they were presented in clusters. So a variety of majors presented to students by faculty. So we certainly can add that as a note of exciting activity coming up in the next year that they'll be a part of it should they choose to enroll.
Yeah, it just seems, especially, to echo what Kylie said, that the students are really excited about it. So if the students that are here are really excited about it, I would think the ones that are thinking about coming here should also be excited about it.
Absolutely. And, towards that end, I know because we have communication plans that continue through the accepted student phase, we can create a communication that would highlight that as something happening this coming year as well.
Yeah, and maybe if it's updated periodically as more information becomes available, and, the fact that there are people from all over the world coming here.
Absolutely.
So any other questions or comments for Patrick? If not, I want to give a shout out to Mindy and Patrick, because I know you guys have been doing not only your jobs, but above and beyond.
Absolutely.
And it's yielding some exciting results. And just want you to know that it's known and it's very much appreciated. So thank you both for all of your extracurricular work on behalf of the university. Thank you very much.
Thanks, June.
You're welcome. Okay, Eric Dersher is going to tell us all about student affairs.
Good morning, June, College Council and colleagues. Pleasure to be here and provide some updates. And June, as an aside related to your last question, I did not mention it in my brief remarks during the new student accepted student day, but I'm going to add that note in to make sure that people are aware of it for the one in April. I think that's a great idea to let people know, especially prospective families, who is the audience, to let them know that that's happening on our campus in January coming up. So thanks for that thought. In terms of student affairs, similar to Melissa's comments about employees, our exempted or unvaccinated students are still testing weekly. We have about 40 of them who are testing, and we are continuing to track that. In terms of other COVID protocols on campus, as most of you may be aware of, our indoor mask requirement is still in place, but just for academic-related activities, classrooms, labs, studios. Our emergency group is planning on revisiting that at our meeting next Thursday to see if we would like to continue to have that in place or potentially remove that for the rest of the semester. We felt like it was premature to do so thus far, but are continuing to watch national and local trends, especially as this Omicron subvariant BA2 is now the most dominant strain. So I know for me personally, selfishly, student affairs, campus, et cetera, I'm hoping we can at least make it through to and past our graduation ceremony without having to deal with another surge related to this. So my fingers are crossed for a whole host of reasons. With commencement, as I hope many of you know, one of my many roles on campus is to help coordinate our commencement ceremonies. Our team has been meeting for several months now in preparation for the ceremony. I hope College Council members may be able to join us on Saturday, May 21st at 10:15 in the Academic Quad. We're really excited, as Sal mentioned, with reunion weekend to have a traditional in-person ceremony for all of our students. We have also invited back through Sal's team, we have outreached to alum in the classes of both 2020 and 2021 and invited them back to participate in the ceremony as we promised we would. Currently, I just looked before the meeting, we have 11 of our outstanding alum that have said they would like to come back and participate in the ceremony. So we will certainly make sure that we recognize and celebrate their accomplishments along with the 2022 graduates who will be the largest part of our audience. So preparations and plans are moving along nicely for that. I also wanted to mention, although it's not in my report, that Pacey's, which is our auxiliary corporation related to the campus who runs our college store, dining services, and lots of other functions, has been very active this semester. Our longtime serving executive director, Dan Hayes, who I think is in his 45th year here working on campus, is retiring at the end of this semester. So we have a search process that concluded this past week with 2 candidates on campus. Thanks, June, for participating in those. So we hope that that will be successful and we will be able to announce a successor to Dan. Pacey's has also been undergoing an extensive realignment process themselves with dining services, not unlike financial challenges that the college has had itself. Pacey's has not been immune to the enrollment challenges and significant decreased numbers in students that are on campus and off campus, but providing meal plans, which is the largest source of revenue. So there was a communication that went out to campus earlier this week that I'm happy to share with the council that talks about some changes in Pacey's dining service operations for next year, which would include not having dining, for example, next year in Lehman, but moving the all you care to eat options over into the student union, relocating the Starbucks operation from the Pack Cafe over into the student union, which they hope will increase off-campus traffic to Starbucks, and then consolidating the Crane Commons and the Pack Cafe into one operation. Moving the Starbucks Cafe out of Pack will allow for increased options, efficiencies, and options that were previously provided in the Crane Commons into the Pack Cafe. The Crane realignment has been particularly controversial, as Dean Gibbons knows, with alum, prospective students, and current students. We hope that email communication has helped clarify what's happening. And I know Patrick Gray, who is our Director of Dining Services, I believe Kylie is coming to the SGA meeting next week on Thursday to address questions and concerns from students. So I think that's all I have for comments and highlights from the Student Affairs report. And like my colleagues, I'm happy to answer any questions related to these or other topics for Student Affairs.
Thanks, Eric.
Just one question, Eric. I think it might have been 2 meetings ago, you spoke about the University Police getting a new squad car. I know that it's probably really backed up for when they're supposed to receive that, but do you know when we're projected to actually get that in?
I don't. I'm going to guess that we're still probably about 6 months away for that. It's quite an extensive process, as you can imagine, to not only put that out to bid, But once we have an accepted bid and an agreement to purchase that, not unlike the new car market that people are experiencing with dealerships and the chip shortage, it will take some time to get that vehicle in, and then once we get it, it has to be outfitted with the appropriate equipment, computers, sirens, and that kind of stuff. So I'm guessing we're probably 6 months away anyways from having a new vehicle in service for our officers to be able to use.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can confirm that. The bid has been accepted. We have moved into that phase of
Waiting.
purchase and upgrading. Yeah,
Building,
Waiting.
and then waiting.
and then
some
waiting,
more.
right.
Yeah, it's okay. Some people are used to it by now. Thanks for mentioning graduation. Diane, have you heard back from all the council members about graduation?
Most everyone. I'm still waiting on a couple, but the order has to go in this weekend, so.
So the order for regalia has to go in this weekend. So if you are one of the some people who have
Who is
not
it? Call 'em out.
responded.
Call 'em
Yeah,
out.
call them out, Diane.
Are they here in the room?
Is there anybody
They're not
here in this room?
I'll be one of them. I will attend.
Harold will attend, so order his,
Oh, thanks, Harold.
Okay.
all right.
Very nice.
And if some of you haven't been to a Potsdam graduation yet because of the pandemic, we haven't had it.
I have, I've been.
You've been to one? Okay, I know, I knew. Anyway, and Harold and I have been, and Rich has been as well, so have you heard from Rich?
Yeah.
Oh, Molly, you have?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, all right, but I highly encourage you to come, especially since it's in person. It's a great day, and particularly because we have a high percentage of students who are first-generation college graduates. And so it's really special, not only for them, but their parents and extended families. And it's just a wonderful day to see these students reach, I'm not gonna say the end of their educational career, but make this milestone, the first step.
Yeah.
And,
And remember your sunscreen.
oh, yes, and your we usually have bug
Right.
spray available in Thatcher and sunscreen, because it could be black flies, it could be,
Could be cold.
it could be,
Could be- I
it
didn't-
could snow, it could rain.
I didn't want to say, but yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but in all the years that I've been on the council, I've been in scorching heat, freezing cold, black fly bitten,
Yeah.
had the Eddie Munster suntan from the mortar board, because we're facing directly into the sun, and we actually moved graduation to 10:15-ish in the morning. It used to start at noon, which was really brutal, not only for the people on the stage, but the people in the audience. So we're thankful that it's
Good.
a little bit later. And I just, again, I want to recommend that you come and
Yeah.
knock wood, fingers crossed, eyes crossed for good weather, which normally we've been blessed with a few notable exceptions. And it's just a great day. So now, last but not least, Willie Williams is going to give the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion report.
Thank you, June, and good morning, Council. I greatly appreciate being invited here and to listen to all this exciting news about senior administrators being brought on, and we're going to hire for and obviously recruit a new president. We have a new CDO that's going to be onboarded, and listening about that, and also the excitement around students and our new student enrollment, potential enrollment, and definitely the admissions coming up. And this thought, this sentiment is reverberating in my mind about how we want to make sure that more people need to know about Potsdam, more people need to come here. And as I think about this very brief update that I want to give, I have another question for council, and that simply is, what's going to keep them here? So as we talk about the senior administrators we're bringing in and the students that are coming in, and I think about the data that I have been collecting while I've been here through observation, working with our professionals, seeing things that are happening in Burt, and dealing with those situations, looking at our strategic diversity plan, talking about professional development, looking at SUNY's 25-point action plan. My question is, again, what are we going to do to keep people here? Because the sentiment I'm getting is one of great disheartening. This idea that people are almost dispirited. And this is not to put a wet blanket on what I'm sure is a great meeting and a celebratory time in a lot of different ways. But as I heard Betty say earlier, this is real, right? This is some more of that real. And that is that we have a very real and present constituent of people who are here at Potsdam that are not happy at all. And we have a very real group of students that are feeling like they are, for whatever reasons, due to their BERT reports and reading them correctly, feel like they're being in some ways either persecuted or in some ways just aggressed upon or oppressed. So how are we working to change that so that once people get here, they stay here? And I also want to include this, right? So some of you might already know, I've talked before, I was at University of Virginia for a long time. This isn't something I'm saying because this is Potsdam, right? This happens at the University of Virginia. This happens at every place I've been. Resources aren't the problem. Location is not the problem. It's not an issue of size. So that's not the case. So I don't want you to get the wrong idea with that. This is a problem everywhere. And you can have the best initiatives and bring in great people and do a lot of good things, but if the culture is not there and we really aren't all thinking about what needs to be done so that everyone feels like they belong, then it eventually will not work. You'll have people having the same conversations like, I want to get out of here. So with that noted, I did want to give you, like I said, a very just brief report about some things that happened. I mentioned BERT, the BERT reports to the Bias Incident Response Team and the Bias Incident Response reports. They have died down, but they were flared up at a point. And as we looked at them, and I had talked earlier to Phil about this, about having an opportunity to discuss with senior management what the BERT process is. And I think I also mentioned this to Betty in our conversation one time, just to get everyone behind us on how we're putting this together and give strength to the actual process. Because I think a little bit of that has died from what I've seen. It doesn't have what people would call teeth. And I've heard that from a lot of people who are involved in it. It's just, I feel like if something gets reported, people can say they will or they will not listen to what the report is, and there's no real reason or nothing that makes people want to actually take a training or to listen to a recommendation, unless there's actually been an offense, which is not what BERT is. It's an informal way of reaching social justice. So with that in mind, this idea of how we can restructure it so that everyone understands exactly what it's there to do, and then have that support. So it gives it that bit of bite so that people feel like when this stuff happens, this is something that's important that I should respond to, that I should participate in. So right now, like I said, it's kind of gone down, but there have been some things that have happened that have been very eye-opening, and we've gotten them resolved, and that's in no small part due to Claudia Ford's great work. I'm sure you're all familiar with her and everything that she's done and continues to do in that area. And along those lines, we'll talk about meeting with the diversity cabinet because Claudia Ford's on it, and I'm not going to name everyone else who's on it, but I do want to mention that in doing that, the main intent was to talk about the Potsdam Strategic Diversity Plan, right? Which, as you know, has 7 goals in it. It actually has 6 goals, but goal 2 has an A and B part. And there's a bunch of objectives, there's numerous strategies. It's been looked at in 2019. They talked about different strategies. There's numerous strategies, though, that haven't been addressed. And the idea was, let's go through these and see what needs to be done. But those meetings have really been time to actually talk about how people are feeling about being here. We haven't gotten to the actual plan yet. So that needs to be done. And I understand. And it's tough because I'm going in with the idea of let's get this action, because I'm sure you don't want to talk anymore. But it's quite the contrary. People aren't feeling very heard. Again, they're exhausted. So, it's difficult. But that's all to say that the plan is to look at the plan, and to look at a lot of the strategies that haven't been addressed yet and see what needs to be done therein. Moving with that in mind, thinking about plans, the SUNY 25-point action plan, I know, Eric, you know about this. It has a section B5. If you're familiar with the SUNY 25-point action plan, it's broken down into A, B, C, D, E. And within those, there's a bunch of other little goals and objectives. So in section B, number 5 is to basically create space for students to be able to formulate their own clubs. And specifically, these are for students of color, right? So how are they able to expand and create their clubs? And, you know, are we creating a place for them to do this? And is this something that they can go online, they can get help, and then get support with building their club and putting that all together? So Eric's been great in letting me know what's going on along those lines and giving me information there. And I'm working with System to find out what the timeline is for this, because if you look at that 25-point plan, there are some things that are very much focused on system, you know, so they want to do this system-wide, and there's other things that you must understand are for individual schools and individual colleges, and you kind of have to go through and determine which one is which and figure out when you're going to get those done. So I'm going to find out some more, hopefully in the near future, about what the timeline is about that, because there's this idea that there's expectations for you to meet, and we don't know if there's consequences to that or what's going to be there. So we want to get all that filled in, and I'm in communication with System about that. So that was that B5 part. I also want to talk about the basic community engagement, because that's obviously a part of what your diversity officer will be doing, your chief diversity officer coming on board. So that's a point of celebration. We have that person identified and they're going to be coming in. But in working with the community, I got connected with Jesse Coburn, who is the superintendent of the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, the Huvelton School District. Huvelton School District. Yeah, so they're looking to get a DEI coordinator. They don't really know what the name of it's going to be yet, the coordinator liaison, what it's going to be. But they want to get somebody for the system, and they want to seek some help on how to put together that job description and where to look for that. I feel like that might be a nice conduit going forward, a nice working relationship and a network to put together, whether it's I offered, maybe we might have interns that might want to be there from education that would be able to work with not just that school district, but others. Obviously, there's an idea of not just recruitment, but how are they going to retain people there? I think you mentioned they had one black faculty or staff member that was there in that system. So, you know, they need to have this addressed, but I think they're fearing what their pool is going to look like. And then, again, how do they retain, how do they develop those people, how do they create a network, and how are they making this idea of diversity, equity, inclusion, and excellence part of their actual mission, and how does that work with the board? So those are some conversations that I've been in with Mr. Coburn about. And then lastly, I just want to touch on this. Alan, I don't know if Alan Hershker is going to talk about this or if you have, but the EID committee surveys, I just wanted to mention, again, thank you for sharing those with me. I'm excited to learn more about them. If you're not familiar with the surveys, they were kind of put out to see, you know, where we are as faculty with the resources that are available for the new GED platform. So looking with diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice, not just at Potsdam, but they're trying to look at these things system-wide. So different surveys were sent out to our faculty to see kind of what resources were there, what are the different pedagogical techniques you're using perhaps in class. And, you know, me being nascent to the college, I don't have a lot of institutional knowledge to talk about that. I have general knowledge, so I look forward to speaking with them more about it. But those are some of the big things that are happening right now, and there's, you know, other concurrent things that are going on. I don't know that this is necessarily a report out issue, but that was it. And again, if there's any questions, I'm glad to hear them.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Willie. Questions?
I have a comment.
No?
Students are really excited about a new chief diversity officer. They're really excited to have a fresh face on campus and to have someone who's like we already have people who are very ready to help with diversity, equity, and inclusion issues, but people are just really excited to have the new leadership and to have new people, and they're just really excited to see what comes out. And thank you, Willie, for all you've been doing. Students really appreciate it. And yeah.
No problem. Is that Kylie?
Yes.
Kylie, hi. Yeah, thank you. And I really appreciate having the opportunity. And I'm going to be there from the 7th to the 9th if you're looking for a new fresh face for the students to see. I'll be out, and there's going to be, I'm sure, an agenda of some sort. So I'll be in all different kinds of places. And I'll be at, I think SGA is going to be having something, right? So I'll be there for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
Just a comment, Willie, you spoke about keeping people here who come here, and I have no announcements to make about new things that are underway that are completed in that regard. I can only say that many things are underway and in the process. From bringing back the First Year Connect program, there's some elements to that, and one key person is going to go on sabbatical, but there's a plan about that. That's a program which connects SUNY Potsdam students to other SUNY Potsdam students before they even arrive on campus for the first time, and specifically has enables SUNY Potsdam students, incoming students, to meet online other SUNY Potsdam incoming students from different parts of the state than them, from different backgrounds and the like, and together in moderated discussions build their listening skills and their sharing skills. So when students arrive, they're more connected and to more people and start perhaps with a greater comfort level and feeling that the campus is an inclusive, welcoming place and is welcoming specifically to them. Initiatives are underway as well. Discussions are underway between me and the Chief of Police, Tim Ashley, about ways to create more communication back and forth between the police and the students. New elements, adding new elements to our community policing work to reach more students, maybe, especially including students who arrive on campus with some distrust of the police, with some negative experiences with the police. And so that the police hear from them and they hear from the police, and we build some connections there. In my view, a lot of what keeps people at a place is that they form positive relationships at that place. And the academic side, applied learning experiences in the first year will often keep a student here. They really want to stay in their program because of exciting things they're doing right away when they get here. So I agree with you that that's a concern and that we need to address that.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any old business? I'm looking at you, Steve. By the way, Steve is retired as the supervisor of Messina, and he's very happy about that.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I made it.
John Q. Citizen, once again. Okay, any new business? I'm sure you've all marked May 21st on your calendars, and I will see you there. And as always, I will speak on behalf of the council. If in anything, any of these aspects of the college that we're heard about today, or any we haven't heard about, if there's anything that we can do as council members, you need to let us know. We're really good, we're really smart, but we're not mind readers.
I don't know about being smart either, but.
Well, yeah, with a notable exception to my left, my far left. I don't want to make you think it's Kylie. Okay. If there's nothing else, we will see you at graduation.
We need a motion.
And I need a motion to adjourn. Thank you, Diane. See, that's why you can't leave.
Some hands popped right
I
up.
forget about that. All right, is there a motion to adjourn, Steve?
Second.
And seconded by Molly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If you're opposed, you have to stay here. So the rest of you, I will see you at graduation, if not sooner.